Happy holidays, happy holidays. Let the merry bells keep ringing. Happy holidays to you. It's the holiday season. And it's also the 14th episode of Effluvium. It is now 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to kick things off right away by doing our three first impressions. Hello, hello, hello. Hi. Hi, Fernando. Hello, Lily. Hello, Will. The first impressions for this episode are as follows. We have Dimitri. Hi. We need a fourth panelist. If you're free, let me know. We have three, but I'd love to have four to round off the panel. So just let me know. I have my phone with me. You can message me privately. So we have, for the first one, Ensalade from Marc-Antoine Berrois. Next, I have a Clive Christian. Clive Christian, Mandarin, 1872, Mandarin to be exact. You know, that really pricey, luxurious house that I don't think anybody really talks about, but, you know, they have really expensive fragrances. I think they had their time for a while, and I don't know, haven't tried this one, so. And the third one is courtesy of Anuj. Anuj has sent me some samples of some things that I had some curiosity over. Colors, Colours, Canadian spelling, or British spelling, or pretty much any spelling outside of the United States. Or does Australia share the same spelling as the United States? Dimitri, can you answer that? Colors by Alexander Julien. I was always struck by the bottle for this one. I've never smelled it, and I almost remember seeing it when it was around in the 90s, but I have no idea what it's like. And he was so kind as to provide me with a sample. Hello there, Unaverage Joe. Thank you for tuning in. Hello there, PS. Very handsome profile picture there. Colors. Okay. Pep, thank you. So British spelling or original spelling in Australia. It's Canada as well. So that will be my third one. Let's get this started. Ensalade or enchilada for all I'm concerned, by Berrois, Marc-Antoine Berrois. Don't know anything about it. Don't know a single thing, single detail. Don't know about the notes pyramid. Like that's a different colors. Actually, that colors is spelled with just the Colours, but not the same. This is I'll be doing Alexander Julien. Yeah, well, that would explain things. Yeah, much like Canada. Okay, all right. Enough of this jibber jabber. Let's spray this. I can already tell I don't really like it. I can already tell that I'm not too thrilled about it from that first blast. Oof. Oh, Mother Mary, holy. I don't like this shit. I don't like it. I'm telling you, I don't like it. I don't want it in my life. I don't need it in my life. It doesn't bring a spring to my step, this kind of stuff. Oh God, I have such issues with so much of modern perfumery, and I'm not that type of person to poo-poo all of it. There are some great releases that have come out in the past few years, but there is something about using this raspberry ketone with leather that just makes me really unhappy. It does. It makes me want to weep. And it's just so astringent and uninviting. And there's a complete, and it's not to say that I dislike fragrances that are kind of distant and aloof and austere and like, stand back, give me my space, those kinds of fragrances. But there's just something, it's not natural smelling at all. And for many of you who know this principle, smelling natural does not involve using naturals. Smelling natural as in, you wouldn't be surprised if you were to smell this in some manner in nature. And I like things that are deliberately synthetic to a degree. But ideally, I like something that's a little bit balanced. You could have some things that provide some intrigue or interest that are a bit synthetic, but also do have a little bit of naturalism and familiarity to your limbic system, that your brain is not trying to figure out, is this something that I should be smelling or is it not? Our brains try to identify things that are edible or safe or noxious and will make you sick. And I don't know if my limbic system just detects some of this stuff as there's a little too much of a synthetic or some sort of unfamiliar alien kind of smelling stuff that just makes my brain not feel comfortable with it. Ensalade is giving me that feeling. And then there's also that weird kind of like it's trying to be pot thing. Maybe I'm completely off and there is not pot at all in the pyramid. But Mr. Clean, oh, sorry. Hi. Okay, Rudy, we'll see you soon. We usually have people jump on in about 10, 15 minutes anyhow, so take your time. I like intense green bitter. This is a different kind of intense bitter. I don't even really think of it as green necessarily. It just smells, it doesn't smell like the kind of smell that comes from nature that one day humankind decided this is something that would be beautiful as a perfume. But yet here we are today and people are making perfumes like this. It's immediately no. For now, the first minute, I don't want it in my life. Okay, next. No, it's not. Oh no, I love IBQ. No, it's not. I mean, I am kind of picking up IBQ actually, but it's not used in a way that I like. It's not. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit of a traditionalist when it comes to using isobutylquinoline. I don't know. I just don't like it. It's just not making me happy. I'm sorry, people, if you enjoy that one. All right, moving on to Clive Christian 1872 Mandarin. Lily, if you could help, if you could help out Lewis on IBQ while I'm testing this out. No, I really want to know how much this costs, because there's just no way in hell that I would be purchasing something like this just based on a cursory examination of the top notes. There's no way I would be spending $350, $400 on this. I'm sorry. This is my thing on citrus fragrances, okay? I don't put a value on a smell, all right? But I put a value on the cost of ingredients, all right? And most citruses are not costly, all right? Some are. If we're talking about things like yuzu, that tends to be a bit more expensive. Certain petitgrains. Maybe if you want an unusual citrus like clementine or tangerine, which there's less essential oil being produced than, say, mandarin, which the two, those two are hybrids of mandarin. So the scent profile is not going to be all that different. It's quite nice. But I think that Clive Christian is sort of a fraud. There's great fragrances to come from the house, but great fragrances that you could readily find elsewhere and not have to pay a premium because of some supposed prestige or history or some sort of explanation for why it is a luxury item that I don't buy. And that's why I just don't have much interest in the house. I feel like it is even less interesting than I think a lot of creeds that were released in recent years. I don't know. I don't like that kind of pomp and circumstance. I think I've been pretty outspoken about it. It's nice, though. It's pleasant, but I've smelled it elsewhere. And I'm just thinking of like orange bitters from Joe Malone or Mandarin from Serge Lutens, where you'd still be spending a lot less for a bell jar. And it's much more intriguing and has much more interest to it. So, yeah. Unlike last week, where all three were in the running, those two, I'm underwhelmed. Okay, Colors by Alexander Julian. Thank you very much, Mark, for helping folks out there. Isobutyl Rudy Leathery Aromachem, very powerful. Was famously used in Piguet Bandit and used in many leathery chypres that were to come after. What a pleasant palate cleanser. So Colors kind of reminds me of Zizanie. I don't know if you folks know Fragonard Zizanie. I think that somebody, the Rat Pack, may have worn Zizanie. Somebody in the chat might be able to specify who that is. Zizanie from Fragonard. This smells so much like it. And it's powdery. It's barbershoppy. It's lavender, geranium, orange blossom, all that kind of stuff. It's quite pleasant. It's been long discontinued. It was released in the 90s, and it's really intriguing that this would be released in the 1990s. This is not typical of a 1990s fragrance. I dig it. And I think that this is the one that probably will win at the end of the night. Just knowing who I am and knowing what I gravitate to. So we're going to get back to the chat here and see what people are discussing here. I'm just going to scroll back a little bit. Rhubarb and vetiver don't go together. There's actually, if Mark can help me out with this, there's a Rubofix, which is a aromachem, which actually is often paired with vetiver. I would argue that they could potentially go together if they're dosed correctly. I think that you may be referring to the ensalade. Maybe we're seeing a notes pyramid where the two of them are together. Maybe they missed the mark. Maybe they didn't balance the two accords together very well. Hello, Adam D. Would I consider it avant-garde? Onslaught? No, I wouldn't consider it avant-garde enough. I don't know. I call it trying too hard. I'm being very blunt. Trying too hard to maybe be avant-garde, but not really avant-garde. You thought I'd like it. I don't know. First impressions. I'll smell it again. No, there's still, now the IBQ is really coming through. And the thing about IBQ, and this is what really gets my goat about a lot of modern niche, okay? IBQ has been around for like decades and decades. And there were perfumers who were skillful and artful about how to use that in a composition. And in a lot of modern perfumery, modern niche, use whatever label you'd like, I find that some of these materials that are fetishized are overdosed to the point where the nuance and the mystique of how they're dosed in classical perfumery, because classical perfumery is fine. You can even be avant-garde and take notes from classical perfumery, right? IBQ is not one that you fuck around with, because it will be a beast. It will take over a composition. It is really powerful. And if you don't dose it in a careful manner, it becomes something that's too rough and too crude and too crass. And that shouldn't be the only thing that I'm smelling on it after what? It's been 10 minutes since I applied it, not even. I don't know. And that's it. It's a blast of IBQ. Yeah. But I love IBQ. I love isobutylquinoline. Love it very much. Things that, yeah, 100% on what you're saying regarding things that smell artificial. Some of it intrigues me when it's well done. I smelled CDG Black recently, and it was wonderful. I love CDG Black, and also blatantly fake in every aspect. Comme des Garçons, the perfumers who've worked with Comme des Garçons have that in the pocket. Hi, I'm hiding behind this comment. They have it in the pocket with a lot of the releases, but not everybody can do intentional synthetic in a way that makes it still wearable and beautiful. Hi, Margie. How does Cabochard compare to Bondy? Bondy is... How do I best describe Bondy? It pulls no punches. Cabochard is a bit more accessible. But Bondy, that's really dark and smoky, and it might be harsh to certain sensibilities. This is not the harsh like in this Onslaught harsh, but the harsh that I would welcome in perfumery, like a kind of harshness to kind of raise your eyebrows, not make you go, oh God. It's much more masculine. And that's not to say Cabochard's feminine, but it's a bit darker. It's darker, it's more smoky, it's more robust, it's less floral. But both are classics, and you can't go wrong with either. It's just two variations on a favorite theme of mine. Yeah. We'll be bringing you in soon, Ryan. Yes, it is possible. And I think that think of it this way, it's kind of like painting. So things like grapefruit and rhubarb, they can serve as really effective top notes in a fragrance. And as that transitions through, as the vetiver comes to the fore, as the vetiver comes into relief, as it rises from the depths, it becomes sort of a more kind of a seamless transition. It's beautiful how certain materials can allow for that. Some others I can think of that are really great. It's like geranium and vetiver, rose and vetiver. There are certain things that synergize really well with vetiver. And I think that rhubarb and vetiver do go well together if you have a perfumer behind them that has the ability to make that happen. Hi, welcome. Just want to give attention to my friends who've joined. We have 42 people on currently. Not a fan of overinflated prices from heritage houses where artistry is clearly lacking. I couldn't say it any better. Orlan Derek, right? What a nice one. I love that one. I agree, Lewis. Are you pampering yourself while listening to me? I hope that my voice is soothing enough. I always thought my voice was a little bit more nasal than I'd like it to be, but yeah, I'm glad that I'm accompanying you on self-care. Oh yeah, the modern is great. Now, are you talking about, Margie, the EDT, EDP? I think the EDP is great. Yes, Rosenqueer does present isobutylquinoline in a well-mannered approach. So are we talking? So is Ensalade Quentin Bish's composition? Because I am very much I feel very hit or miss with his stuff. So that wouldn't surprise me. Just catching up here. Abusing raw materials is not creative. Preach it. And I see and smell a lot of it, and it's not pretty. It's just not pretty. And, that's just my opinion. I'm one opinion out of thousands and thousands. If there's something that I am going to pan and you like it, don't take it to heart. It's nothing personal. It's me, not you. Yeah. It doesn't. It's not one of those where it's sort of it's a little bit more stealth, I think, in Fahrenheit, but very cool that you picked that up. I think it's overdosed in Le Sillage Blanc, and I feel like it drowns out so many other things in it, which is why I wasn't really impressed, honestly. I just don't think that it's a very well-balanced composition. Some people live for it, and they think it's, the best thing since sliced bread in perfumery. I use it a lot. Not even just in this context. Don't ask. It does not. Actually, it does not. I will tell you what Tuscan leather uses. I don't know if somebody already answered this. I'm doing a lot of catch up here. Let's see how far back. 717 and it's now 724. So Tuscan leather is that raspberry ketone with sueterol together. Very different from isobutylquinoline. So the sueterol and also safralene are very modern leather materials. So they give off kind of like a very clean leather interior, like leather car interior, leather jacket. We're not talking about cured or tanned or We're not talking about like a Spanish leather accord or a Russian leather accord. We're not talking about those like tannins that are used in the process of leather. It's a very, very modern. And I'm not crazy about it. I don't dislike it. I just like my leathers to be a little bit more rugged, a little bit more, wow, not, I don't know, clean and antiseptic. I want them to be a little dirty. You think so? Wait, Ryan, you think there's a hefty slug of IBQ in it? I see you nodding from backstage. I don't know. I don't notice it. We have to have a discussion on that. But I don't think that the IBQ is, I don't know. I don't pick it up. We should have a little chat about that one. I see you grinning. Are you going to have to come on soon? I don't know. Our guest should be coming pretty soon too. Maybe I should smell Tuscan leather again. Maybe I have to revisit it. IBQ can be butch. I want to like cabochard more than I actually do. Hello. Good day to you. Very nice. Wonderful stuff. Yeah. I figured you would, Tammy. Yeah, Makassar, I have just a sample of that, of course, because it is quite rare. All right, I'm just about caught up here. Just about. Wow, we have a very active chat. The thing is, CDG's perfumers indies don't have any access to some propriety and captive materials. It's a mistake to try to create those effects with more traditional materials, especially the powerful. All right, catching up. What does the leather accord in Kanitsa 10 consist of, in your opinion? Oh, God. IBQ and birch tar? Probably. I mean, that's kind of the crux of it. A lot of other stuff going on. Yeah, and queer moresque too. And of course he does. Oh, what's your sexiest leather? That wasn't me. That was my chair. Sexiest leather. I think Pot Espana, Santa Maria Novella, is quite sexy. What else? I think Bandi is really sexy too. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah, and Bellamy has its moments where it can be kind of sexy as well. Yeah, I guess I'm not the only one who doesn't notice it. I have to revisit it. I don't own it. I don't even know if I have a sample of it anymore, but I got to smell it again. Maybe Ryan is picking it up in ways that we're not picking it up, and it could very well be there. Just for whatever reason, we're not detecting it. I have no doubt that it's there. I just don't detect it. Yeah. That does bring the ashtray to a lot of things. What color do I associate with IBQ? Probably like mauve. Maybe like an umber, like a kind of like a brown that's slightly green, but still pleasant to the eyes. And of course, not to be predictable, maybe some grays, some monochromatic smells. But maybe all of that together. And maybe some lighter shades of brown as well. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Used well isn't noticeable as a note. Yeah. Unless you have smelled it in isolation. Yes. Because when you smell it in isolation, I think that there are ways where, you interpret it in a certain way and you remember it and you can identify it. And that's why I'm puzzled by Tuscan leather, because I don't. Here's a tip. I don't think gray flannel changed nearly as much as people think. A bit. Maybe not as much oak moss, but I don't really care about the oak moss and gray flannel because it's really all about that wild galbanum, high like narcissus and mimosa craziness that happens in the top notes and into the heart. That's what really makes me love it, and how that endures into the base. I am one of those who will go against popular opinion and say I enjoy more recent formulations of gray flannel, and I'm not apologizing for it. Yeah, greenish, brownish. So my reference for color often involves Crayola crayons, the 64 box. I'm too old to remember boxes that were larger than that. And there were two crayons, raw umber and sepia. And those colors are IBQ to me. Yeah, like muted colors, but maybe there's like some highlights to the muted colors. I'm doing the whole Aaron Terrence Hughes thing again. I've been accused of that in the past. Yeah, and it's a great violet leaf. It's not all that natural. I mean, it's a cheaper fragrance, but natural doesn't mean inferior. And it's a great violet leaf accord in the heart. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's the thing. Yeah, you're right, Mark. And this is why I'm so glad that I'm friends with you, and you're here to share your experience and knowledge. Oak moss. The one thing that could be missed from oak moss, and those who are willing to invest on a proper oak moss accord rebuilt within the restrictions of not being able to use oak moss, is that it does stay until the base note. And that's the one thing that I think that people bemoan, is that hours in, when you nuzzle into your skin, the biggest difference is that you don't pick that up in more recent formulations because of the lack of oak moss compared to how much there was in the past. Don't even bother with the eau de gray flannel. It's insipid. It's watery. Don't even bother. Trust me. No, I would have loved to have you, Louis. I am consistently impressed with your journey into fragrance and your enthusiasm and your open-mindedness. That's the most important part, is having an open mind and seeing it as an adventure, and stepping outside of your comfort zone, because it doesn't take too long after stepping outside of your comfort zone where you realize that the comfort zone was not necessary at all. And you start to have really great experiences sensorially with fragrance. All right. Okay, so I think I'm going to bring in Ryan now to help me out here. I've been flying solo for a little over a half hour, and hopefully hopefully Rudy will be joining us shortly. Hi.
Hey, Joseph, how you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Good. while we're on the subject, because it's fresh in my mind. So Tuscan leather, just I'm not crazy. It was created when Harry Fremont was working on the IBQ leather, and Jacques Cavalier was in another corner of the lab working on like some raspberry accord. And then Karen Khoury, I believe, who was the head of Estee Lauder for Tom Ford at that time, said, I like both of these, mix them together, and Tuscan leather was born. So it's an IBQ leather base with the raspberry suede raw stuff kind of laid on top.
Hot damn. Thank you for dropping the knowledge there. Maybe, and this is like me to do this, I confuse things. Maybe I'm confusing Tuscan leather with ombre leather. Maybe.
That is possible. Ombre leather, I've never picked up IBQ in any of the versions of ombre leather, which is why I think that doesn't have that like cocaine ashtray vibe that people say they get from Tuscan leather.
Well, raspberry ketone itself, when you smell it pure, it does have these facets of cocaine. It really does. How do I know that?
No reference point. No reference point. So
it was just once when I was 22 years old. I was thrown into a bathroom and forced to do a line, and that's how I know. Okay, well, I think it's probably, maybe it's my confusing ombre leather with Tuscan leather.
Oh, it maybe, but it's also, I feel like Tuscan leather, like I can't remember. I only smelled it fairly recently, like on a whim, but before that it had been years since I smelled it. It's one of those things that you kind of smell once, unless you're one of the people who love it. And I don't really love Tuscan leather, for the record. But if you love Tuscan leather, you probably know it better. But it's like you smell it once, you feel like it's ingrained in your mind, and then you just kind of like move on from it, and then you smell the 1,000 other leather scents that it has inspired over the years.
What is this Barrois crap? Oh God, no. Do you know about this? Do you know about this Barrois, or Barrois? Marc Antoine Barrois. Oh, Encelade. I'm just knocking the whole house. I'm just knocking Marc Antoine, Mr. Barrois. You're awful. No, just Encelade. Have you ever smelled this?
I have not. I'm trying to remember if I think at one point I smelled, what is it, B683 or whatever it is, but and Ganymede, but I can't. Encelade, I don't think I've tried.
Oh, it's dreadful.
Ombre leather has big IBQ, jasmine and IBQ. Hold on, I got a tester of it. I mean, hold on, let me see.
Yeah, it's making Clive Kirsten look pretty good right now. Even though that is like a lot of like orange for days, like aldehydes, like those sticky aldehydes that last way longer than any citrus ever would. Like, it's like, I'm going to just like make this citrus last longer than it would ever naturally last and confuse your brain kind of citrus. You know what I'm talking about? It happens.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. So, what was it? Atelier Cologne Orange Sanguine, or the blood orange fragrance that Atelier Cologne did. That one always threw me off because it felt like it very realistically got like the juicy blood orange element, but the citrus just hung around too long that it felt artificial to me in a way that I couldn't get behind, which was sad for me because I love orange citrus notes. Like the feeling of like opening an orange with your fingers and digging into the skin and getting the rind on your hands is one of my favorite smells in the world. The residue of that aroma on your skin after you've done it is just heaven to me. But that fragrance got the accord right, but then it just kind of like it stays so linear after that it just didn't feel right. Are you talking? I'm not hearing you. Testing 1, 2, 3. I can't hear you. I don't know if anybody else can. Folks, comment if you're here.
Hear me now?
I can hear you now. You're coming through loud and clear now. There you go.
God damn technical difficulties, for crying out loud. That's why. Folks, if you could please buy me a few coffees, because then that way I can upgrade. Buy a couple of coffees. Hey, buy a couple of coffees. All right, there we go. Just a few. It's not that I don't need that much per person. If every person bought a coffee right now, everybody who is tuned in at the moment, then I'd be able to upgrade my sound, my microphone. I'd be able to probably even buy a paid subscription of StreamYard, and I could do a lot of fun stuff. So if you could, thanks. All right. Yeah. See, the thing about orange, the orange synthetics are nice depending upon the amount in which they're included in a composition to extend it into the heart. But if there's a lot that's well into the heart, the artificiality, I think, starts to show after a while. Like it begins with a naturalism, and if you were to do like sort of like a chart or a graph, and the naturalism, there is this inevitable curve in which you have that evaporation from the naturals, and there's going to be sort of like a junction. And I think to know when to limit the amount of synthetics, orange synthetics or citrus synthetics rather, so that it isn't prolonging itself well into the base, then you don't have this odd plasticky kind of like, yes, I'm an orange, trust me, kind of feeling well into the wear. And I've noticed that with a few fragrances where it's like, you ain't fooling anyone. This is not true. It's not true to Live Orange. One great fragrance that doesn't get nearly enough attention that I think is able to keep that going into the heart without it really wearing out and becoming too artificial is Déclus pour une pelure from Serge Lutens. Because that's a beautiful straight up orange that merges into a clove, and you don't even notice the transition. It's beautiful. Somebody was kind enough to find that. But were you part of that whole thing where they were like showing up? Were you able to get bottles like at TJ Maxx and they were showing up? Yeah.
I got the big bottle of Le Couche de Diable for like $29, and what's the wonderful La Fille de Berlin?
Yes,
rose fragrance. I got that for $29. Both of those. I was lucky enough to snag both of those. I've worn the heck out of Le Couche de Diable. I wear that. That's my most worn fragrance of the year. I wear that.
Isn't that grand? That is a great use of something. It's a fractional distillation of labdanum called hydrocarboresin. You could look this up online, and it is the more incensey and top heavy aspects of labdanum really lifted out, and it's so delicious and enduring. And I think that Christopher Sheldrake uses it to great effect in that fragrance. So good. My only tiff with it is that far into the dry down, some of the woody ambers are there that I'm not crazy about. However, it's still a 98%. It's a really, really great fragrance. Rudy's now backstage, and I do not want to have him waiting much longer because it is now 7:45. So everybody, please welcome our guest for the evening / morning / afternoon, whatever time of day it is where you are viewing. Welcome, Rudy.
Yeah, I thought this bastard forgot I was backstage for a second.
No, I didn't forget anything. I just wanted to make sure that it was much like our fragrances, a seamless transition.
What's up, JJ?
What's going on, my friend?
And Ryan, right? If I'm not mistaken.
It is Ryan. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Ryan. And hello, chat.
So we currently have 51 people tuned in right now, which is fantastic. Rudy, you suggested for a topic sharing some of your favorite new releases of 2022. And I was looking into what I purchased over the year, and I have exactly zero releases that were from the calendar year. So I'm going to be relying on you and Ryan, if he does have any from the current year, to share what exciting stuff had come out during the past 12 months.
Well, now I'm scanning my base notes wardrobe.
Can you scan it? Can you filter it for like what year your fragrances have come out? Like
it doesn't look like that is an immediate filter, but it can probably be created. So I'll ask the admin of base notes.
I wrote down a list. I have my fragrances in here now. I moved them.
We have an important question for you, Rudy. Well, I am going to address it to you. Apparently, somebody thinks that there is a baseball sticker underneath Ryan and me. Can you answer to that one? What is that? Who is Red Ben? I don't even know what Red Ben is. Who is this? Hi, thank you for tuning in. Who is this?
I don't know.
Well, Red Ben, I hope that you do subscribe to all three of us. We'll be sharing our.
I don't know. I'm a sticker. I don't know if I look.
Yeah. I don't know what that means. I thought I'd share it with you just in case you had any idea what he was.
Nope.
Referring to.
Well, I wanted to mention, like, you can talk about things you've tried that have been released from 2022. Because I mean, I have. To be honest, I haven't purchased that many from this year. I have some. Some were gifts, and I've tried a lot of stuff from this year.
Right. I do want to clarify quickly earlier in case anybody is confused. I haven't purchased full bottle anything from 2022, but I did actually sample some things. So yes, among the things that I sampled, Le Delirix Bellam, which I do really enjoy Antoine Lee's creations, and I thought both were quite wonderful. All right, carry on.
It looks like I probably have five releases from the past year, so that's a respectable.
Let's say, yeah, you can go on about that. Well, I do want to mention I tried these two when I purchased a 2022 release, which was Shalimar Millicine Tonka, that limited release, and then I ended up selling it.
You much. Did?
Yeah, because I knew it was limited, so I knew I'd get my money back, even if I wanted to get rid of it, and it just wasn't for me. And someone from the community actually bought it. I'm sure you'd be familiar with him, but I don't know if he wants me to share that, so I won't. But I got these samples, and that's Oud Nude and Cherry Oud.
What were your thoughts on those?
Cherry Oud is crap. It's just like, it's so gimmicky. It's just like cherry and just like amber woods, like some incense, some woodiness, some smokiness. Just like everything else that's been coming out. It's forgettable.
Sounds absolutely riveting. What is the story with cherry? I love cherry flavored stuff. I love cherry candies. But cherry seems to be a note that the novelty can wear off way too quickly. And it wore off around the time that Lost Cherry came out. But yet there's so many releases coming out right now that have
a cherry smoke now. There's a new Tom Ford called Cherry Smoke now.
No interest in that one. No interest.
In a
don't
red
care.
bottle.
It will get discontinued in 6 months, just like the roses that they
released. Don't get me wrong. Like, this would be fine if it was, I don't know, $200. This isn't worth $400. It's laughable.
Oh God,
to spend that much on this, but I guess people do it. Although I think Hannah likes it. So.
All right, so we figured out, Mike V, who is our resident sleuth, figured out that it has to do with the fact that you are portrait and not landscape.
Oh.
So it makes you look like a baseball
card. You could have been more detailed about that.
How clever.
Hold on, let me do it. I like this more because now I'm looking to the side because of the camera.
Well, that's
is
the
to the
thing.
right rather
Because
than
you're
it's
using
so
a phone.
annoying.
You're using a
Yeah.
phone, right? Yeah. When you use a phone, it's tougher. Like I always do that. I used to try to do my YouTube videos off of my phone, and it would be so difficult for me to aim my eyes at the camera. I would always just want to look at myself, so I'm always looking in the other direction. So I totally get it.
Yeah, I mean, I have an older iPad, and it's gonna have the same issue. And obviously, I can't hang it up with the ring light. But I think the new iPads have a center camera on them now,
Yeah.
so they're
That's
starting to
helpful.
fix that issue. But yeah, so yeah, hopefully, I'm not a baseball card anymore. Quite the analogy, though.
Yeah. Yeah. It's quite clever.
It's fun. It's fun. Yeah.
So Cherry Oud was a dud. How about the other one?
All right, Oud Nude. This one was a little bit better. A little bit better. It's this milky roasted tonka, and again, those amber woods and that smokiness that you get. Um, I enjoyed this. It wasn't bad, but again, for $400, I still don't think this is anything impressive, personally.
Yeah.
Again, but it was
Now,
better.
$400. I just don't go that far. I don't go that far. I'm not going very far for any full bottles at this point either, because it's gotten to be absolutely ludicrous at this point. I just don't want to really collect as much anymore. But I'm certainly not going to spend $400 on a fragrance at this point. And when it's like another oud, oud has been, it's going to be around indefinitely. But these kind of like Johnny come lately ouds, that's like the least interesting thing to me right now. And especially when Guerlain decides to do it. It's like Serge Luton's too. Like, what was the name of the one that was released recently in one of those depressing gratte-ciels? What's the name of it?
I know what you're talking about. I forgot the name, though.
Oh, God. They were a little late in the game with the Rose Oud came, and I just don't care. Just don't care anymore about that.
Yeah, no, it's just like whatever. And
Yeah.
to be honest, I'm kind of happy because I don't want it. Like, so it just makes it easier on my pockets to not care.
Yeah, makes it easier.
So yeah, just release crap, like whatever.
It makes it easier to just cross it off like, I don't give a shit about this. But there was one, Ryan, that you picked up recently, and it was not a 2022 release. It was Bois Armani, right?
Yes, which still absurdly expensive for what it is, but
Yeah.
it is a lovely fragrance. I love Bois d'Armani. Yes, and when I got that, I actually one of the samples I got was Oud Cole, which I tried in store alongside that, which was my favorite of the three ouds. Still not worth $400, but it was kind of for me, it was a smoother, more refined take on Bois Mysterieux, a little bit less rough and ready, a little bit more elegant. But again,
You said Oud Cole, right?
Yeah.
That's the one I haven't tried. That's the one I want to try.
It's, again, not worth the retail, but if like if a bottle showed up somewhere around $150 or something like that,
yeah,
it would be a nice addition. But of the three, that was the one that I thought. It doesn't really. My take sampling the lineup, which I went through and when I was finally at a Guerlain boutique, sampling a lot of the Guerlain art and materials releases that I hadn't tried before. That line is very incoherent. It's all over the map in terms of style. So you have like things like Bois d'Armani and Cuir Beluga, which are like very like kind of stuffy French elegance from like that luxury, like a, I don't know, they kind of feel a little bit matronly, like a I don't know, a wealthy woman of tastes, like perfect handbag kind of elegance to it. And then you have, like the Absolute Orient collection, which feels completely at odds with anything that's going on there. And now the new stuff just feels like it's doing something else altogether. Guerlain's kind of all over the map these days, which is a shame.
It
I
is a
agree.
crying shame. I don't really get what they're trying to do these days. But we do have a very important question here from Red Pen. Can anyone recommend a fragrance that smells like prawn cocktail crisps? And also, he is a good Samaritan in helping us to avoid anything that is potentially threatening on a full moon. No, Red Ben, I can't say that there's any fragrance that even vaguely reminds me of prawn cocktail crisps. I mean, there's some fragrances that remind me of caviar. Some that might be even vaguely low tide smelling, but nothing that specifically smells like prawn cocktail crisps.
I don't even know what that is. So
it happens to be a snack that is popular, I do believe, in Asia, and I've seen it around, and I guess he is a fan of them.
I wouldn't know how to smell like them, though.
No, I don't think I would. So Mark says, cherry and fragrance means a fairly limited range of raw materials, mostly one chemical in particular that smells horribly industrial and easily overdosed, which I'm assuming, maybe I'm wrong, Mark, you might want to correct me, benzaldehyde? Maybe benzaldehyde with some ionones, maybe some p-tolulaldehyde. But yeah. Heard you guys talk about La Couche de Diable. How's that really been interested in that? And the bottles are really cheap out there. Yeah, cheap and very nice. If you can get it for under $60, that's a steal. Just get it. If you can't find a sample, just get it. I think it's really good. Really good stuff. Rudy, are you familiar with La Couche de Diable?
I haven't tried it.
The Devil's Tuffet, or some people have translated incorrectly as the Devil's Diaper.
Well, that's the one that's kind of red, dark kind of juice color.
Yeah, a very dark red juice, incensey, labdanum, very thick labdanum. It uses a particular fractional distillation of labdanum called hydrocarboresin, and I only know that because I have a quantity of it myself, and I immediately recognized it. But I think it's great stuff. Looking like Anuja's hitting on you.
Anuj hits on everybody.
I love Anuj. Oh, I want to show.
I
want to show some of the minis, because my New Year's resolution for 2023 is to go for minis and to say to hell with full bottles, because it is just absurd at this point for me to even get any full bottle. And he sent me these really cool minis. I'm gonna blow myself up here and show like this little Fendi mini, Fendi Uomo. It's still sealed. I haven't opened it yet, but neataroo. And then Halston Catalyst in the beaker. Anuj, thank you so much for these. This is making me so excited for just collecting minis for the duration, the further duration of my collecting it all. I'm just going to do minis. There's one more.
I love that bottle.
Isn't that great? And then Nino Cerruti. It's still in the box, but a grand reveal. Hi. That's all I need. I don't need a full bottle. That's all. And it smells lovely. Thank you so much, Anuj, for all of these little gifts. I'm going to have a mini collection. This is going to be my new hobby. It's a lot cheaper, too. That's what I'm going to do. All right, back to the subject. So, guys, 2022 releases. Rudy, you talked about some Guerlains. What else have you got for us from the current year?
Well, this one was, a chit chat. This one I still am working on it. I got a bunch from a sales rep at Bergdorf, and that's Uncut Gem.
Oh,
really?
Is it as bad as people say it is?
Tell us your experience.
No, it's actually growing on me. And so the amberwood chemical in here, I don't know, sounds different than what they typically use, because this doesn't have that kind of that smoky burnt woodiness, like that 3M smell that you would get from amberwoods. This is different. And
Wait, Rudy, did you say the 3M smell?
yeah,
I
that like
love.
Band-Aid.
Yeah, like petrochemical product smell.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, like I like it sometimes. Like I like it in Gucci Guilty Absolute, but it has to be done right, right? Um, but this one here, it's not bad. It smells like it was mixed in a blender, all the notes here. Uh, it's good. I just get this muskiness. I get some angelica at the top. I get a big blast of orange at the top. This is like a new genre of mainstream fragrances. Like this is something I could see like Chanel releasing as their new men's release and this blowing up and becoming and selling millions and millions of bottles. Like this is a new genre of blue fragrances. You smell clean, nice, but not in a body wash type of way.
I think that a lot of the reaction to Uncut Gem probably has to do with a certain cynicism that frag heads have. And I think that we need to see maybe the silver lining behind things like Uncut Gem and releases like H24, that we can let go of this sort of like propriety, this attachment of like, this is for us, not for the mainstream, and let the mainstream kind of change and evolve and show an interest in different themes in fragrance. And maybe that's where that whole like initial like, oh, this is shitty kind of reaction, maybe, looking at it larger picture,
Expectations.
The expectations are often a lot more unrealistic than reality is, and you also have to look at Frederick Malle. I know that we want them to release some, incredible things like Synthetic Jungle and, Rose and Queer and, so on and so forth. But it is a business. So what is going to be the one that is their bread and butter? What is going to be the one that is the crossover? Think about artists and musicians. They need some sort of hit. You're going to have your loyal fans who are like, I'm going to listen to the whole album, every single track. I'm going to listen to the B-sides. I'm going to listen to the demos. But some of these businesses need to do something to make money so that they can continue to produce the fragrances that we love. So go ahead, Rudy.
So one thing I always wanted to say is that sometimes these brands need fragrances like this, or a Bleu de Chanel or a Sauvage, because those are the fragrances bringing them in millions and millions of dollars. And if it wasn't for those fragrances, then some of the ones that we love, that we like, would probably be discontinued by now if it wasn't for some of those other fragrances keeping them alive. So I'm sure Guerlain's Low and Mighty L line probably keeps Mitsuko and all their other classics still in production.
Yeah.
Because they're making money from Bleu de Chanel now. Sometimes you need that. And I think what happened with this was that Estee Lauder was like, okay, we gave you your artsy fartsy release with Synthetic Jungle. It's probably not selling well. Yep. We need something. So they went back to the guy that gave them Musk Ravageur, that put them on the map initially, right? And so they went with an easier, more mainstream release. That's how I see it in my head.
Alex says it's like Metallica's Black Album for those who are fans of Metallica. Go ahead, Ryan.
I'd love to smell it. Honestly, I liked H24, which you name dropped a little bit before, Joseph. And your description of it, actually, of Uncut Gem, actually makes me want to try it. I was kind of skeptical of the intense backlash because fragrance enthusiasts of a snobby sort, and I count myself in that group. So
me too.
But we do tend to be a little bit like the the music snobs who like will devotedly listen to anything that is just like not top 40, and then God forbid there's some radio hit and like automatically will just dogpile.
Yeah, they fucking sold out. These sellouts.
But that's not.
I can't stop smelling this. There's something catchy about it. I don't know, like, you know. It's good. Although, yeah. Although I do get tired of it after like 10 hours, but that's with most things. Like even the stuff that I really, really like, I usually get tired after like 10 hours. I just want it off.
Yeah. Well, if you're getting tired after 10 hours, that's not bad. Considering what we were talking about earlier with these synthetic orange fragrances, where it fucks with our head and we're like, I need to just move on to something. I need to wash this off and move on to something else. I think that 10 hours is a good run.
10 hours is too long for me. I would never last 10 hours on my skin. I that's when people are reviewing fragrances and they're like, I get 12, 13 hours out of this. I'm like, oof.
Isn't that kind of scary? Like I've seen, like I wake up in the morning and I still smell it on me. Like, no way, man. I gotta scrub that shit off. I can't.
A good, you know, like 6-7 hours is probably my sweet spot personally.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I think that a reasonable, okay, if we're gonna have a little discussion, a little tangent on performance, I think that a reasonable performance would be about 6 hours, 6 to 7 hours. That's fine. That's fine. And at the 7th hour, it's a skin scent. Yeah. And that is normal, I think.
I agree with that.
But when it starts to, when it just lingers and it's persistent and you just want to get rid of it, you're tired of it and it's hard to get rid of it, I generally don't want to deal with those fragrances at all. I think that something happened there where they overdose certain things and it just adheres to your skin and it's uncomfortable after a while. I actually like wearing more than one thing during the day.
It's not normal. It shouldn't be on your skin for 20 hours and it shouldn't be stuck to clothing after 3 washes. Like there's stuff I wash 3 times and I'm still picking it up. Like that's just not normal. You don't want that seeping into your bloodstream for 20 hours.
Right. Yeah. It has to make you wonder. And, I had this, recent diagnosis with asthma. And I think to myself, like, there are some perfumes where I don't feel comfortable with the amount of overdosing in it for the sake of giving consumers what maybe they want. I don't even know, but I just don't feel comfortable with something lingering for that long. And people say like, well, back in the 70s and in the 80s, that's what happened. And I think that's a little rosy. That's a little rosy memory. I don't think that's necessarily true. No. And I don't know. I like to have a development in a fragrance, and I like it to have sort of an exit after a while. Yeah. It leaves very little trace after like 8 or 9 hours tops. And then
it starts dying down. Yeah.
Dying down. And then you can even, like, if you choose not to take a second shower in the day, you can actually wear another fragrance. Yeah.
So it's interesting. One thing that you, I know we're on topic, but this occurred to me on Uncut Gem because somebody in the chat asked who the perfumer was, and it's so one thing, a fragrance that I got in a swap that I never thought I would have enjoyed in a million years was another one by Maurice Roussel, and that was for a lab on fire. He did a fragrance called a Boulevard called Sunset, and it's very modern, which is not necessarily my taste, but it's really, really pretty cool. It has this sort of like fizzy mineral ozonic aspect to it, almost like warm asphalt or concrete with this sort of like grassy violet dimension and a little bit of leather. It's so unusual and so interesting and really does feel very like California to me, like a California day with like hot concrete and asphalt, that's very unusual, and I kind of love it.
Hmm.
Does it smell anything like the Narciso Rodriguez for him?
I see that they're comparing that on Fragrantica. I don't.
They do.
I
Yeah,
don't.
that was a
I
guess.
don't. I don't find those particularly that similar, but it does. The one that they do compare it to in that list that did come to mind is the original Carolina Herrera for men. Not Herrera for men, the very vintage one, but the CH men. CH men that has like a kind of like grassy leather element. There's something like that in this. But yeah, it's an unusual fragrance. I've never smelled anything quite like a Boulevard called Sunset. Kind of cool.
Yeah, I remember that brand. I remember going to. They closed down now, but it was in Brooklyn, and they had Lab on Fire. I remember those bottles.
Boulevard on Sunset. I'm looking this up right now. That sounds really familiar. So there was a bit of a buzz on that one for a while, right?
I had never heard of it until somebody offered it to me in a swap, and I said, sure, why not? What's the worst?
Lab on Fire. Yeah. For a while ago. It was a while ago. Yeah. Oh, wait, this is 2020 though. Okay.
Yeah, this is a newer release.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing. Floral, green, a little like modern synthetic in a way that I want to keep smelling. I don't know. Great.
And, not that Fragrantica is a perfect resource, but it's pretty reliable. Crowdsourced kind of data, but it is heavily compared to Narciso Rodriguez for him Eau de Parfum.
Yes, and that's what I think Rudy was just asking about. I don't find those particularly that close, but obviously, how many votes did that get? At least 4 people think.
You see, I had no clue.
Yeah, it's not like a ton of votes. Yeah.
I mean, you always get the people that upvoted and then the fans downvoted, so it's kind of even.
Right.
So
like they're like they're like that's bullshit, and they downvote it like they're full of shit. I'm gonna down. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the funniest.
I see that a lot. So one release that I wouldn't mind trying is Christina Gel Hermescence Violet Volinka. Have either of you tried that? Yeah.
Yeah, I have. Have you, Ryan?
I have not. I would love to try it though, because I was very curious what she would do when she started to add to the Hermescence line.
Cedra Sambac is gorgeous. I like that one.
Yeah, that is a good one. I like that one.
And
okay.
I have an affinity towards very heavy violet fragrances, so I was really interested in trying that one out. And I've heard a lot of good stuff about it. I'm just going to wait until it shows up for a discount.
There you
go. 70% off.
Every single one of my Hermescences were bought on eBay. I never paid full price on them.
Some of them don't really show up at discounters, though.
No, they never do, but they show up on eBay. And I just take a risk, and I think, well, there's actually a couple sellers, and I bought from them, and I realized, okay, this is legit, and I just kept buying from them because I'm not buying full price. I'm not buying full price on Hermescence. It's just not how I roll.
I Peace Marine for $100 one time, and I didn't take it. I was so pissed ever since then. I still think about it.
The ones that got away.
The ones that got away. Oh God,
so much stuff.
There's one seller, and I think they're in like the Bronx or something, and they did. I don't know if they still do because I'm not really actively seeking Hermescences. But they were selling them for like, I don't know, like $100 to $150, which is like a third or more off the retail price. And that's just basically how I did it. And that not all of them are extraordinary. I don't have to buy every single one of them. Some of them are kind of like nice, but I don't really need to, add them to my scent arsenal, as Thomas Early Greek says. But Violet Valinka, I love Violet. I have actually have a few Violet Soliflor and Violet scented fragrances. That's one that piques my interest. So I would be happy to try to get a sample of it in some, way.
So while we're on the subject of 2022 releases, I have a few here that
yes,
I
please
purchased. So the first one, I've reviewed this. It did make a little bit of a splash, not necessarily in the fragrance community, but outside of that, which was Floris's number 007 release, which they released for the 60th anniversary of the James Bond film franchise. Floris obviously being a house that has a historical association with Ian Fleming and some relationship to James Bond. Thought this was a lovely fragrance. It's gimmicky to release something tied into James Bond, but I actually think this is one of the best releases from Floris in a while. It's a glorious kind of like floral amber with rose, and the amber in it is the kind of like dry soapy amber that you get in like the base of Youth Dew and things like that, like a very vintagey sort of powdery amber. So this feels, and then you get some like bay rum-ish amber tones to it that are very nice. So I thought this was really well done. Happy to wear this. I wear this all the time. It's really nice. And then I guess this was my year to go in on Clandestine Laboratories, which Mark has been floating around in the chat, but I kind of went a little bit nuts with that house over the past year. So I have 4 fragrances that I picked up from Clandestine Laboratories over the past year. One I didn't have handy, which is called Madrid, which is lovely. A kind of like slightly animalic lemon citrus opening that's coming from like rosemary, some nice florals, cedar notes. It's very sunny. It's very sharp. He loves his sharp citruses and sharp herbal notes. That's kind of in that vein. And then I have Assam, which was my most recent pickup, which is gorgeous, slightly untraditional oud. Just posted about that on Instagram, but I hope he gets the opportunity to make this part of his main line so more people can pick this up because it's lovely. He's just had trouble, I think, sourcing a consistent oud, which you can expect. Orpheus, which was his like tobacco incense and is very unusual. It's kind of like a cola-y creation with, again, kind of astringent citrus up at the top, which I like. And then the most interesting and probably appropriate to this time of year is Novichok, his chocolate gourmand, which is very unusual. He likes mineral notes a lot, and this is a chocolate that leans into like the mineral chalky elements of like raw cocoa powder. So it's kind of like a slate gray chocolate, very unsweetened with like kind of like a smooth like milky tone as you get into the dry down, but not very sugary at all. Very unusual, like kind of like almost like so dry it reminds me of like opening up like a bag of cocoa powder and kind of like coughing because you've inhaled the dust a little bit. It's parched. We lost your audio again.
No, that's because I muted myself because I was coughing. No, like the dust that comes from the cacao. And I just was mentioning that I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, a very immediate sense memory for me, like because using cacao powder and cooking and things like that.
It's very dusty.
Very
dusty.
What's
the name of the brand again, Ryan?
Clandestine Laboratories. I'll put it in the chat. It's a house that launched last year. The perfumer behind it is Mark Sage. He's a nice guy. He's been doing perfumes on his own for quite a while, and so a lot of these are just fragrances he's experimented with over the years, and he's been kind of slowly releasing them. Really nice guy. And the fragrance line in general is very interesting. My favorite, if you're going to try anyone, my favorite is Silver, which I think is a spectacular spectacular kind of like white ambergris.
I have a sample of that one. It's really nice.
American brand?
Yes.
It is, yes. Based in New York City.
Yeah.
There you go.
Rudy, so Henna asked, what are you looking forward to in 2023?
Oh,
That's a
boy.
good question.
Well, fortunately, I saw it and I had some time to think about it because I usually don't. I'm not a planner, so I don't look too far into the future. But I think it's probably going to be time for Chanel as exclusive for a new one to come out next year. So I'm excited to see whatever that will be. I'm hoping they'll make something for men as well, but Blue de Chanel isn't slowing down, so I don't think they're gonna just stop the sales of that and create a new one. So looking for the new Les Exclusive. I'm excited for that because I think it's been since 2020. So yeah, it's been about over 2 years. So this is about the time they'll make another one. If she's talking about perfume, I don't know if she's talking about life. But
And life in general.
I think she's talking about perfume.
Your head went exactly where my head went when that question popped up. I was like, when's Chanel releasing their next big thing? Oh, I have Neroli Voyage. If John's asking about that, I like Neroli Voyage a lot. I think of the niche like Neroli, like Neroli bombs that are out there. That one is a pretty interesting take on the theme. Nice fennel note in Neroli Voyage.
Oh, nice. Fennel doesn't show up as often as I'd like it to. I mean, we have other things like anise and that sort of stuff, but fennel is a slightly different scent profile, and I just don't think it shows up as often as I'd like it to. I just wanted to revisit the first impressions from the start of our live stream here, and I'm going to go back to the Onslaught.
Oh, the Marc Antoine Barrois, whatever.
Yeah.
You really don't like that, huh?
I don't. Just doesn't. You mean really? What it really comes down to is if it gives you a good feeling, because isn't that what it's all about? You can objectively say that it's a well done fragrance. Oh no, I'm walking into something now because I don't even think it's a well done fragrance. I don't think it's that good. I'm not happy with it. If somebody wants to try it, just send me a message. I'll send it to you. But it isn't pleasant to my nose. Who's that? Somebody texting you during an important live stream?
That me? Yes. Yeah, somebody is.
Hey. So Ryan, this 1872 Mandarin is a perfect example of that. A citrus that wears out its welcome. It has like some sort of like citrus aroma chems that just don't evolve. It just becomes like a linear kind of like, I think it's Mandarin aldehyde actually, which I'm familiar with through dabbling with perfumery. And they just cranked it up to like 11. And I don't want to smell like that. And then lastly, Colors, Colours, by Alexander Julian.
I don't think I've tried anything from Alexander Julian.
It really does remind me of like a 90s version of Dana Canoe.
That sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, I like it. It's in the running. I think it will probably win tonight because I could just do without these other two, Marc Antoine Barrois and Clive Christian.
Does that one have like this leathery kind of saffron thing going on? It's really dry, I remember.
Are you talking about the Onslaught?
Yeah.
I guess at this point I can just look it up and see what's the story.
We don't have to keep going on about it. No,
that's fine. I already have like a browser open, so I'll just open it up. I came into it pretty blind. It was sent to me as a sample from somewhere. I don't know exactly. I don't recall exactly where. Let me look it up here. So there's this nice, pretty bottle. They have pretty bottles from Marc Antoine
Yeah, I like their
Becquois.
bottles. Well made.
Quentin Biche, which is hit or miss for me.
He makes all of
And
them.
the notes are vetiver, rhubarb, sandalwood, tonka bean, and cedar. But to me, and I was mentioning this earlier, there's a lot of isobutylquinoline, which is interesting because if you
Yes.
were to think of a predictable notes pyramid or notes listing, you would have a leather note. And now that I'm aware, of the rhubarb note, I can understand where that comes in through like a particular aromachem called Rubofix. So Rubofix is a type of aromachem that merges the sensation of rhubarb with vetiver. It's very zesty. It's woody. It's kind of like something that fills out a fragrance, but I feel like it's used way too much here. So that and the isobutylquinoline is all that I really detect in this at this point. It's a vibe for someone, but it's not a vibe for me.
Not well balanced.
It's not well balanced. I think colors would be the one that I would choose out of the three. I'll revisit it again at like 920, but I really think that colors will be the winner. All right, let's catch up on the chat just a little bit. I'm a little behind. It's 8:26. I'm looking at 8:22. Not too many. Chanel is due for a men's release, although revisiting Antaeus, Egoist, Monsieur always makes me smile. All of their latest campaigns have been moon inspired, so the next les exclusif. Is that Jesus with boobies? That is Jesus with boobies. Jesus. Who is Jesus?
I actually see that name pop up in Super Day Cup's live streams.
Although welcome.
I thought it was always a woman. I didn't think it was a bearded Jesus.
That's fine. You can have a beard and boobs. I don't care. I'm the most open-minded person in the world. It's fine. If you want to be Jesus with a beard and boobs, I love you. I still do. All right. Oh, it's you. Oh my God. I fucking love this guy. He has a great sense of humor. His name is Emilio, and I'm glad that he is here. All right. Red Ben. Okay. My mother and father only wear fragrance on Sunday. They say that's the only day you should wear perfume, but I think they're just trying to save money by spraying once a week. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that, Red Ben. I think this is going to be the point where we just start to talk about some fragrances that maybe we gravitate towards this time of year, whether or not we do celebrate holidays, Christmas and what have you. But the ones that we reach for when the temperatures get cooler, depending upon where we are, and to make us feel a little bit more festive.
Sounds good.
First, Ryan?
Sure.
Start with you, Ryan.
For me, this is the time of year where, I go all in on my sweeter, richer fragrances. I kind of enjoy that for the month from like that Thanksgiving to December period. And then January, I kind of retreat from that and go towards like a lot of cleaner, greener things. So my favorite fragrance to wear around this time of year is Xenia Passion, which I've talked about quite a bit. Kind of an obscure fragrance, but it's a lovely frankincense with some like a very beautiful amber accord, but it's got a kind of sparkling quality to it. It's almost like looking like an ornate like nativity picture in stained glass with lots of like red glass and that kind of light sparkling through it, maybe candlelight sparkling through it is kind of what I think of. It's got a nice mixture of the sacred aspects of incense with the sort of decadence of the period. I don't really get any proper like any of the ingredients that really suggest like true booziness, but it lists like a rum and cognac note in the note pyramid. I think that's just like it's just being, you know.
I love those bottles and the boxes they come in, that line.
They are beautiful bottles. I have 2 from that line, and it's a shame the line was discontinued, and you know it's harder for people to get. And I would love more people to be able to try that. So that's a big one for me. I'll wear L'Instant Eau Extreme at this time of year with its cacao notes, and that's nice. And then I guess the other one I go in on, let me just grab it since I have it handy, is so I have 2, but one is I love to wear this around the holidays is Guerlain Louis, which is just, you know, that lovely.
Yeah.
The lights, like it has a pear note that's very light and delicate and mixed with
Poached pear. Ryan, I think it's more of like it's not so much like a fresh pear. It's like a poached pear. It's like a little bit stewed. It has the juices and the sugars coming out. Yeah. Love Louis.
Yeah.
What,
and it's perfect for this time of year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well made, that one.
Yeah.
And it's $400 now.
Oh, that's some bullshit. All right. You know, Louis was on discounters for like $60 on Fragrance
Yeah,
Net.
I got 3 of them.
Lucky you. I only have the one, and I was like, I try not to buy backups, and I saw it for $60, and I was like, I should get another one of these, and then I didn't, and now I'm like, well, I hope this lasts for a while because I do wear this a lot during this time of year. It's like, especially in the mornings, like if you're making baked goods, like for the holidays, like you're gonna make like a baked oatmeal or something like that. This is a lovely fragrance to wear in the morning. It's just kind of light light but sweet and a little spiced.
Yeah.
And then the other one I go in on, which has very big Guerlain vibes to me, and this one can be had for under $100 if you're looking around. So folks, like, go for this. This is as good as any of the Guerlain exclusives, which is Lalique or Intemporel, which is their
yes,
which is like tobacco, coffee, vanilla, but it's like it's so a lot of times you'll get those notes and it's the tobacco is just like tonka mixing with some other things. This has a genuine roasted coffee note, which has some of the ashy characteristics of roasted coffee, which is kind of nice. So a little bit of that burnt smokiness, and that burnt smokiness mixes so well with the kind of tobacco accord here. So you get that there, but it also, it's encapsulated in this lovely French, like luxury elegance. So
yeah.
And the bottle is gaudy as all.
Oh yeah, the bottles are so garish.
I don't mind bottles like that because it takes up less real estate.
Yes, narrow bottles are great. We have a 4th panelist coming in who has volunteered to join us here, and I'm going to bring him in, and then shortly after that, I need to take a very brief break. But we have Unaverage Joe. He'll be joining us.
Hey, what's going on, everyone?
Lewis was unable to make it because at this point, it's 1:34 a.m. where he is at, or I guess they would call it, they would call it 1:34 a.m. actually in the UK. So Ryan, I'm going to have you hold the fort here. I'm going to step away very briefly, and I would like you guys to continue to discuss the 2022 releases that you found to be favorable to you. And I'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Red. Fun.
Thank you. Yeah, so we're just still talking about the 2022 releases that.
Yeah, I thought we moved on.
I thought we'd moved on, but we have a newcomer. So what were your favorite 2022 releases?
Hey, nice to meet you, Ryan. Rudy, always great to see you. What's going on, chat? Honestly, so a lot of the 2022 releases kind of bored me this year. I mean, Less Abstrace with LDE, and I'm actually smelling finally Bellam for the very first time as we speak. That actually might be my new favorite, but that's because I like the iris, the cocos, the leathers, and everything.
Really, this one, huh?
Yeah. I mean, that kind of fits more my vibe with the Dior Homme intense aesthetic of everything, the iris, the cocos, the spices. It's a really good fragrance. You know me, Rudy. I don't do Castorium and that much, even though I'll admit that this won me over. But for overall releases, I'd agree Uncut Gem came around. H24 EDP or Parfum, but whatever they want to call it, won me over for the Hermes. The EDT didn't necessarily, but I did like what the Eau de Parfum brought to the table. It was denser for sure.
Does it still have that sort of laundered, like laundry shirt, like pressed shirt feeling that the original EDT did?
A little bit. It comes off a little bit more dense with I get a little bit more vanilla, at least when I'm wearing it on my skin.
Yeah. It's a lot more herbaceous. I found the EDP a lot more greener and a lot more classic smelling.
Yeah. It's definitely a good one. But I mean, honestly, it was almost like the year of the flanker for 2022, unless you found like a small house like Premier Perfumes or Mossy with High Times and Smoky Jazz. Like a lot of the stuff as far as the actual industry went.
Oh no, Joe! High Times made me angry.
It did.
What did I do with that one? Yeah, it was just so rough around the edges. Ryan, you were here that week that I did the High Times.
I bore witness. That was you were not having a good time with that.
I wasn't having a good time.
Your time wasn't high.
No, my time was not high. I was feeling an all-time low.
I'm sorry. Dang.
I can't go with that kind of stuff. I want to know who the perfumer is. I want to know what's going on. I don't know what I did with that, but and I actually got an email from the house, and it's nothing personal. It's just I can't, I can't sit here and pretend that I enjoy something that I don't enjoy. And I hope that they should. Right. And I would like to think that if I give some honest, constructive feedback, that maybe that particular fragrance out of the oeuvre of that house is not really to my liking.
Right. So, exactly.
So quickly before we move back on to the stuff that we wear in this season, the best releases I personally have that I purchased was Paris Rose Cologne. I call this.
That was a good
Rimbaud.
one. Yeah.
Rimbaud is fantastic.
Is that a Celine?
Iris. Yeah, Celine, Iris, Lavender, Vanilla, Musk. What else? And Laudula. I don't want to talk about this completely yet, but I'll just throw this out there. This is amazing.
That was
Rose.
Good. That was a good release. It really was.
Well, I don't have it, but Chanel Sycamore Parfum was good. Uncut Gem, I thought was pretty good for the year. The Terre de Hermes Eau Givre or whatever you want to pronounce it.
Eau Givre. Is that what does Eau Givre mean? And that means like iced water? Isn't that what
you're on your own right there? Something like that. But the bottle was frosted, kind of this pink grapefruit citron cologne, really good. I enjoyed it. And Celine Bois d'Armand was nice too.
That's right. Celine has gotten a lot of attention this year because they finally released in exclusive line. And I haven't laid my nose on any of those. But
Me neither.
which one would be the one for me to experience first and foremost?
For your taste?
For you.
For my taste, yes,
Go on.
exactly.
I have one in mind already.
Go for it.
Night clubbing. That's probably the one you'd probably like the most.
Reminds me of Iggy Pop. Night clubbing, we're
That's
night
right.
clubbing. Is that what it's named after?
It's inspired by a DJ, yeah.
No, it reminds me of it. Isn't that an Iggy
That
Pop
kind of
song?
looks like you. Yeah, and
Oh,
inspired by a DJ, kind of looks like you, yeah.
oh,
not
there's
joking.
so many DJs that are bald and have a beard. There's so many. I used to be a DJ from 2003 to 2013.
See?
Interesting.
That's my past life.
That stuff is made for you, man. I'm telling you. You gotta go try it out.
Marcia also recommends, besides night clubbing, Eau de Californie.
Oh, the California, yeah, that one's one of my favorite actually from there. Lightly done, kind of the smoky vetiver Palo Santo woodiness. It's so good.
Jesus, is that the same album that has warm, leatherette, warm?
No, I don't think that. I'm trying to remember. I don't think that's
What?
night clubbing.
Wait, what is on night clubbing? I have to look it up right now. I like, Ryan, that you know Grace Jones enough to know.
I listen to a lot of Grace Jones. Yeah. So
Yes.
so great that night clubbing one with Pull Up to the Bumper, Use Me,
Wait.
Demolition Man.
So night clubbing is Iggy Pop, but I'm looking up Grace Jones night clubbing. Pull up to the bumper, baby. Ride it in between. That is such a suggestive song. I never even realized until I actually started paying attention to it. All right, let me see. What's on night clubbing by Grace Jones? Sorry, guys. Sometimes I get sick of talking about the perfume and I want to talk about music instead.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, right? All right. Grace Jones album, 1981. It does have Pull Up to the Bumper, baby. And what else does it have? It has Walking in the Rain, which was a cover. What was the cover? I think was by Flash in the Pan. That's a good one. And Demolition Man. That was actually written by Sting. Okay, all right. So what was the one that had Warm Leatherette? Sorry, guys. I just need a break from the perfume talk. Just bear with me.
I think the album is just called Warm Leather.
It is actually Warm Leatherette. Ryan, who knew that you were such a big Grace Jones fan?
Huge, in fact.
I love her song, like "My Jamaican Man." Oh,
you sing it just as well as she does.
Yes, my Jamaican man. Put the nipple to the bottle, baby. Grace Jones is awesome. Yes. So, guys, we should shift over to festive holiday sense at this point, because I wasn't really able to gather 2022 fragrances, but I have a whole grip of fragrances that I like to wear this time of year. So we'll start with you, Joe. You didn't really get the memo for this, so I don't know if I really want to put you on the spot for it, but can you think of some fragrances that you enjoy wearing around the holiday season?
Yeah, I'll just kind of point to them because they're here on the rack instead of me running. But Zahar's Tobacco for sure. Jazz Club when I'm a little bit more intimate, like if I'm really mingling with a bunch of people because it sits closer to my skin. There is just for regular designer purposes, just depending if I'm going to be in a really people-pleasing place, the Armani Code Absolute. That's just a good Tonka suede variation with citrus, just mass appealing. And then One from actually this year that actually is really solid was Premier Perfumes. It was Smoky Jazz. So it's gonna have a nice peach top with like bourbon and woods, and it uses Hinoki wood also, which I found interesting for this. A little bit of vetiver, and just really does a good job of capturing a slightly smoky jazz club. So it's almost more of an amped up version of what Mesa Margiela's is, but balanced and a little bit better.
Joe, I'm going to blow you up so you can more properly show that bottle. You said this is from Premier Parfums. Oh,
yes. Here, there we go. So this way my ring light doesn't flood it. But that's the bottle. And this is 100 ml, pretty thick glass wooden cap. And yeah, Smoky Jazz. So it uses like apple, apricot, peaches, different woods, cedar wood, hinoki wood, sandalwood, bourbon accords, a little bit of like resins and spice also in the mix. This is what I'm wearing for this holiday. But in prior holidays, I would have worn something like Tobacco, which was right there, and then like Replica and all my other like nice designer stuff. The mass appealing stuff is in that corner. But Grand Soir from Maison Francis is another solid like woody vanilla.
Maison Francis Courtien.
Mm-hmm.
My Jamaican guy. Oh, that's a good song.
Yeah.
All right. So Rudy, holiday season, you celebrate Hanukkah, right?
I celebrate both.
You celebrate both. Okay. So what do you reach for this time of year?
I divided them into like two categories. One sweet and the other one's kind of coniferous and kind of burnt, like fire, like a burnt fire smell, kind of almost smoky. And this one, it's kind of light, but that's why I kind of like this, and that's Traversée du Bosphore.
Traversée du Bosphore. It's beautiful, beautiful fragrance.
I get this texture of Jello. I don't know if it's the color that's giving me that feel.
Sort of gelatinous, like if you were to take this fragrance and put it in your mouth, it would be solid, and then it would eventually melt into a liquid.
Yeah, like that's the feeling, or like kind of like those peach rings, like those sour peach rings.
Yeah.
Almost.
Now I want to grab my bottle. Hold on a second. Keep on talking. I'm gonna grab my bottle.
That absolutely makes sense. I get the same effect.
Right.
I don't have a bottle of it, but I had a decan of it. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's an EDP, but they're balanced so well that it doesn't overtake you, right? A couple of smells of this and it's perfect, because usually I don't like sweet fragrances, but this is so well done.
L'Artisan is generally good that way.
Yeah, agreed.
And he's back. Wait. Or is he? I don't know. He's back? Maybe?
I think so.
He is.
I keep having some issues with my microphone every time I step away. But I got my Traversée du Bosphore, and I want to see if I can get that gelatin effect. Because this shit that I put on for the three first impressions is harshing my mellow. It's not making me happy. I need something that I actually enjoy.
And especially from the bottle, too. From the nozzle.
This is beautiful stuff.
Oh, it's awesome.
It has that kind of quenching feel in the top note. Now, do you guys know what I mean by like a quenching feel? It's almost like if you're feeling parched and you spray this, it's sort of
mouth-watering.
Yeah, mouth-watering, exactly. Oh God, this stuff is good.
Yeah, it's legit. And this stuff, like nobody wanted this stuff. Like they were just sitting on discounters for like $70. Now they're discontinued and they want $300 for it.
Isn't that crazy how that happens? People don't realize how great things are until they get discontinued, until they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Are they making this in those uniform dark bottles, or did they just outright discontinue it?
No, it was in those uniform black bottles for a little bit.
It does kind of remind me of gelatin.
Yeah.
Like, but it still kind of reminds me of like Turkish Delight, which is kind of gelatinous.
But but also it could be the color of the juice kind of looks like Jello as well.
This is such a relief from the garbage that I fucking had to put on for the first impressions. I mean, the colors is fine. That's fine, but the other two things were ghastly.
Yeah. Yeah, that stuff was good. And another one, and I think another treat that this fragrance reminds me of that I think is also Turkish, oddly enough, is have you ever had those Turkish dried apricots?
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Arabi.
Oh,
I'm reminded.
Yes.
Arabi and I go way back. So
yeah, your boys like that?
Yeah, we tight. We met way back in 2008, I think, because I went into a Barney's. You remember that joint? They don't have those anymore. They don't have the Barney's anymore.
They don't.
I walked into a Barney's, and that's how I fell in love with Serge Lutens and fell in love with Frederick Malle. Because I walked in there, and I saw them all displayed, just standing there in a row, all Sentinel-like. And I'm like, what is this fancy stuff? And the woman who was the sales associate, she said, "Let me introduce you to Serge Lutens." And she had me smell a few things, and she said, "Let me give you some samples." And this is back in 2008. She gave me a sample of Chergui long before it got all of the attention that it ended up getting, I think. Ambre Sultan, which is the reference amber. And I also got Arabi, which I fell head over heels over. And I also got Cedula, which I did a recent review on. And I didn't even know. I never even smelled a tuberose bloom.
Too.
Yeah, Arabi is wonderful. Wonderful stuff. Ryan, have you smelled Arabi from Serge Lutens?
Yes.
Yeah. It is the kind of gourmand that I can get with, because I'm not a huge fan of gourmands. There needs to be a little something to kind of pull it in a non-gourmand direction for me to feel comfortable with it. It can't be 100% edible. There needs to be something there that says, you know what? I'm on the verge of smelling edible, but I want to remind you right now that I'm still a perfume. And that's what the fragrances like Arabi do. And, it has that caraway and those, and lovely stuff. Like I love Arabi. I love Arabi.
So good.
Yeah.
Got some, Ryan?
Well, I was going to say, I was reminded when you said gourmands that like you need something a little bit less than edible. And I've talked on the streams enough in the past about Lalique Le Parfum, which we've talked about before.
Yeah.
My favorite vanilla scents.
It's mine too. It beats so many high-end vanillas. It's just, it hits that sweet spot.
One that's in that same space of doing a similar kind of smoky vanilla for me, from a house we've already been talking about in the stream from Celine, is Black Tie, which I like quite a bit.
Yeah.
Which has this very lovely orris through line. Like it's not Dior Homme Intense like part 2 in the same way, because it doesn't go into that lipsticky territory. It's just like a very creamy orris, a very sort of smoky vanilla that doesn't feel foody to me. And it's minimalistic, kind of in the style of the house a little bit, but it's so perfectly balanced, so precisely built that it feels very sophisticated to me. I would take this over Eau Duel from Diptyque. I would take this over.
Yep.
I prefer this to most of the straightforward Guerlain vanillas.
Like Spiritus Double Vanille.
Yeah, things like that. I would say it's similar in that space. Like if you like La Lique Le Parfum, that sort of slightly medicinal tone that gets added onto the vanilla to kind of cut it. This has that same effect with a bit more smokiness. I really love this. And it's actually a great scent for this time of year. I wasn't planning on wearing it this week, but maybe I will.
Oh my God, Traversée du Bosphore is so beautiful. I need to spend some more quality time with what I have. This is so beautiful. Yeah, you can't take for granted what is within reach. There's so many temptations. There's so many things that are flashy and grab your attention, but something like this where it's like, wow. And there's like this apple skin too. But like it kind of reminds me of like the skin of fruits. Like that skin. Yeah. Gorgeous stuff. So I guess I'll share some of my my Christmas favorites. I like how Rudy just abruptly exited for a bit. But that's fine. Maybe he's still listening. Some of my Christmas favorites.
I'm listening.
Okay. Olent. Olent from Diptyque, an older Diptyque. This one was released in 1986, and this is cinnamon and a Popanax with a few other things thrown in. This is the holidays to me.
I gotta get a bottle of that. I especially have to get a bottle of it. I really have to get a bottle of that.
Lent is so good. Oh my God. It doesn't get nearly as much praise as it should. Lent was, an early, here we go again. Like, I'm like that, music. It's kind of like a music nerd. Like, their earlier albums were better. It's kind of like earlier Diptyques were really bomb shit. Really good stuff. Some of my favorites like L'Eau, L'Autre, L'Autre, L'Ombre d'Angelo, and Olent, which is this beautiful, one of my favorite cinnamons. And the thing is that if you're just sort of like taking it moment by moment with fragrance, it's so much more enjoyable than like your busy mind trying to think of like what's going to happen next. What's it going to do in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes? When you're just in the moment with fragrance, that's when it's like brilliant. It's just like you're just in the moment with it. It's a great one.
I'm familiar with that one.
Lent. Cinnamon with a Popanax. I'll blow myself up here to show the bottle ever so proper. Lent. Yes. It's a good one. Okay. All right. Next one. All right. Another one that I like to wear in the holidays. This is an oldie but goodie. This is from Estee Lauder, and this is Cinnabar. Cinnabar is great. Cinnabar is great.
Do you prefer Cinnabar or JHL?
I can't decide between the two. I can. How could you do that to me, Ryan? How are you going to make me choose between the two? It's like choosing two children. Cinnabar is just ever so more floral and jasmine-like than JHL. But JHL is gorgeous too, and I would wear both this time of year. But I pulled out the Cinnabar, so that's the next one. I don't want to take up too much time. Here's another one, Pomegranate Noir. Are you guys fans of Joe Malone? They get beaten up for a bit.
Some of them.
They get beaten up so much, like, oh, they don't last. They're not substantial. Yeah, it's fiddlesticks. Yeah, I really love Pomegranate Noir. It's kind of like a Christmas punch. Yeah, another good one. Next, and I did a review on this today, Elixir Eau de Parfum. Now, I know this has been discontinued since, I think, 2014, 2015. It's going for like $450, $500. I found this by a stroke of luck for $100. Like, I was like, is this real? Is this real life right now? Am I able to buy this for $100? This is beautiful. This is Olivia Jacobetti, and it is this rose over cedar and spices and sandalwood, mace, olivinum. It's transcendental. It's beautiful, beautiful stuff. Another one I like to wear this time of year. And of course, I would be remiss without mentioning this one, which is Fila Nagi.
Yes.
And Fila Nagi is beautiful.
So that one for me is like the holy grail of like holiday pine fragrances. But my frustration with that one, I don't complain about longevity or projection a lot, but that one, it just like I spray it and then an hour later I can't detect it, and maybe it's just me. But like
this is so weird about Fila Nagi. Everybody complains about, not everybody, but I feel like 50% of people who wear Fila Nagi say like, it's beautiful, but it dries down and it disappears within an hour and a half. But for me, it lasts for like a good 5 hours. It does.
I wish it did. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah. Like, it's one of my favorite things ever. I wish
That's perfect for me.
And the greatest tragedy about Fila Nagi is they decided to go from these 50 milliliter bottles to those fucking Graziels where you have to spend $350 motherfucking dollars. And I don't even know how. I don't even know how those are. Like, I don't know if there's been a shift or a change in the composition or formulation, but I use this sparingly. It's like I relish it. It's like I'm so lucky to be able to have this work so well with my skin and be so beautifully coniferous, but also reminding me of like a Christmas pudding. Next, I wore this afternoon after the elixir started to subside. I'm going to blow myself up again. This is the light is kind of not so great. This is Keiko Macheri Olaban. This is Olivinum via Rose with an ambergris dry down. This is the best Keiko Macheri. So good. I actually learned of this one from Katie Puckrick. She chatted about this one when she was doing a showcase of her collection. And she was so convincing in her assessment of it that I picked this up. It's beautiful stuff. So great in the cold air. And those are my choices. I'll move on to everyone else. Let me know. Ryan, how about you?
I thought I already went a little bit before you took it.
Go again. Go again.
I don't mind if I go because I do have to head out, but I did want to throw out some more choices before I go.
Throw out a few more before you have to depart.
Thank you. So this one, the Leon.
Yeah.
This gummy, smoky, animalic, leathery, woody, labdanum thing that does not smell like Shalimar. I don't know what people are talking about.
What is that all about? That confuses and confounds me. Why do people compare it to Shalimar?
Because they don't want to spend $400 on this, so in their minds, they pretend that Shalimar smells close enough to this that they don't need it, but they do want it. And
Well, they should just get the 75 milliliter then. They don't have to get the full.
Correct. Yeah. So I always have the 200 on my mind. But yes.
No, I know you do.
Yeah. So that one, and then let's go for this one.
Oh,
Polo
of
Green.
course.
Classic.
Yes.
Coniferous, of course. Like this is like smoky tobacco, patchouli, and this is a Warner. I have a Cosmere and a Warner Brother bottle. Warner Brother.
Warner Brother.
Yeah. A Warner
Looney
Then I
Tunes.
have Nuit the Foe.
Nuit the Foe. That was a good one.
Yeah.
That's one of the
This
few
is-
from Louis Vuitton I like.
This is a deeper, richer, darker Bois d'Argent kind of, if you think about it. Picture a bonfire in the middle of the desert at night with a bunch of benzoin and oud burning inside of it.
Sounds lovely.
Yeah. And then what else? This one is a little bit more relaxing and cold, but this is a midnight stroll. And this is just cold incense and basically fir balsam. So nice dark green woodiness here.
Bri,
Cypress or something.
what's the Shia? Bri, you want to specify what's the Shia?
I don't think he likes Lee Leon.
You know, it's not for everyone, but for those who enjoy it, that's what's.
Yeah,
That's what
something
really
that's either you love it or you hate it. That one.
Yeah, it's you know, it's great to have polarizing fragrances. You know,
I
think the
people like
polarize-
something I like.
I think the polarizing fragrances make more of an impression because they get more attention. You're going to be people who love them and people who hate them, rather than people who are like, "Oh, that's nice." It's kind of, yeah.
Yeah, he meant shite.
I read it as shit. Not some shit.
Well, you got there either way. But yeah, what else? Somebody brought something else up. Oh, this one. I love this one. Ma numero 10.
Oh yeah, I actually have never tried that one.
I've never
So
tried
this
that
one. So this is another one that was sitting at discounters. Nobody wanted it for $70, and
$70.
I just went for it. And this is basically like a niche, well-made version of like Spice Bomb, pretty much. So you got spices, aldehydes. I think there's some ambergris in here, incense, amber. Really good. Like this one.
Sounds interesting.
And it was really affordable for quite a while, and now it's just starting to
Build up.
build up in price. Yeah.
I don't know. I found a bottle for $42 right now. Just
Well, right. Oh, you did?
Unless it's a 30 ml.
Tell
Is
a
it
friend
30 ml?
about it.
Oh, grab it.
no,
Right
it's
now.
100. It's 100 mil. I found it.
Oh,
You
God,
did?
I'd nab
Where?
that up.
Tell us about it. Where?
Nab
I'm
that
not
up.
telling you about it because
Well, you're
maybe
gonna-
I want to buy it.
Just
Oh,
nab
there's
that
only
up.
one. There's only one.
Well, we'll find out.
Sometimes
I'd
there's
nab that sucker up.
multiples. I found a 30 milliliter.
Oh wait, you're right. It is 30 mil. You lied to me. The picture's 100 mil. There.
Yeah, you see.
There you go.
Oh no,
I
there's
just
little
touched on
mini
that.
versions of it.
Yeah. I don't. They had
Jesus
sets with
Christ, there's-
Timbuktu,
173 for a.
Lo de Ombre, Timbuktu, and Ma Numero 10. It was a 3 triple set with 30 ml in it, and they used to go for like $60, and I never bought them, unfortunately, and wish I did. But now, obviously, they're a lot higher now. But yeah, those are my picks.
Oh, Lily, I have such a tough time with that for continuity aesthetic. So I have OCD, and obviously I have shopping compulsivity disorder as well. I've talked about that before, but I have such a tough time doing collecting for a particular house and not having every one of them be the same quantity. It's really bad. There's nothing healthy about it whatsoever. Nothing at all.
Especially the Frederick Malls, like those little wimpy, 50 short.
Yeah,
bottles.
I want to have the full ones. It's so bad. There's nothing good about it. I'm not promoting it. I'm not endorsing it. It's bad. Ryan, what are you holding on to? You're holding on to a certain bottle of L'Artisan.
We are talking. It's one you like, Noir Ski, which is.
Oh, I know. Love Noir Ski.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
Yeah, chestnut, tonka, that kind of like. Yeah, it's holiday stuff in a bottle. I mean, you don't.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a dry one, if I'm not mistaken.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
JJ, was it?
Oh, you're gonna head off?
Yeah. JJ, thank you for having me.
Yes,
Ryan,
of course.
Pleasure to meet you. And Joe, always good to see you.
You too, Rudy. Catch
Everyone
you.
have a good night. Yeah, happy
All
holidays
right.
to the chat too.
Take care, Ryan.
Thank you.
Take care, my friend Rudy.
Okay.
I want to say, somebody, Bry, this is nothing like By the Fireplace. If people compare it to By the Fireplace, it's not like By the Fireplace. By the Fireplace has that sort of like barbecue-ish smoke note to it a little bit. That it's not in Noir Ski at all. Noir Ski is I don't know. Noir Ski is kind of different. It reminds me more of some there's a lot of niche, like powdery tonka fragrances out there in the world. It's kind of a little bit more like that. Try it, Bry. If you've been interested in it, don't stay away. It's a good one.
Thank you so. Hold on a second. Thank you so much, Dave. Please hit the like button. These are important things. It's important. If you enjoy this content, that's what they call it. They call it content. If you enjoy things like this, your way of supporting this at minimum is to like. If you haven't subscribed to us, please subscribe. Actually, Joe was a last minute addition here, so maybe I can bring in. I can get the link for Joe here, or Joe can get it. Let me just see.
Yeah, I'll
Can you do that for me? Because you probably have it within better access than I do.
Yeah.
I have never seen L'Artisan at any of our teachers.
No, it's totally Europe, Ryan. They are so spoiled when going into like a TK Maxx or whatever they have, and they have so many things come up for an affordable price. Sevilla Lobe is gorgeous too.
It is gorgeous, though. For me, as heavy as that fragrance is, that fragrance for me will always be associated like with warmer nights and like late fall.
Yeah. Bry asks, have we tried Mal Dries Van Noten? I think it's lovely for this time of year. Ryan, have you tried that one?
No.
I have. It's better in the wintertime than like the spring and summer. Spring and summer, it comes off a little bit like baby powder. It comes off a little weird, but for the winter, it definitely it works better. Actually, I was just talking to somebody about that. Actually, a woman who just bought it. I was like, yeah, it's better in the winter. Also, I sent the link in the private chat, JJ. Thank you.
Oh, yes. And for folks who are viewing, Ryan's page is actually linked through the @ sign. So I really recommend subscribing to his page as well, subscribing to his YouTube channel.
Thank you.
Apparently somebody thinks that it smells like baby puke.
Exactly where I was going with it. I wasn't trying to.
Kind of a mood.
Not trying to yuck people's yum, but yeah, okay, interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, holiday scents. So I need to have more like pine scents that I used to have more in my collection, and I kind of swapped them out, and I ran out of my I had a partial bottle of Fianagi, and that I drowned because drained pretty quickly. Because, like I said, it didn't last very long on me, so I tended to spray.
Yeah.
So I need to find another really great, true, just like crisp pine fragrance. I don't have one in my collection at the moment.
Yeah. Wazamba's pretty good. You know what? Actually, Wazamba from Parfum de Père, which I reviewed yesterday, but Le Liturgie des Heures from Javoy Paris. Really good coniferous top notes. Ryan, you have a fan. Dave thinks you're awesome.
Thank you, Dave.
Dave is awesome as well.
Dave is awesome. Really awesome.
Really famous. I pick it up.
Not loud at all, but always present. Bri, can you tell us what you're referring to specifically? I'm sorry that I'm kind of losing track here. What is it that you...
L'Eau d'Ambre, I think. L'Eau d'Ambre by L'Artisan, maybe?
What the? So Jesus with boobies says he has 3 queens standing before him. Yes, motherfucker. Okay. My favorite out of everything that I have on my skin right now is actually the Traversée de Bosphore.
I'm not shocked by that.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I didn't spray the Filet or the Olabon, but everything that's on my skin, I pretty much am saying, fuck off to all the first impressions. It's 9/16, and I guess I'll smell them again. En Salon, Marc-Antoine Barrault. It can go to hell. It almost shattered on my desk. The 1872 Mandarin. No. Hell to the no on that one. And Colors by Alexander Julian. Yeah, this is a keeper. It's very cinnamony. It's very cinnamony and mossy in the dry down.
Nice.
I like Colors. Colors is the winner for tonight. Colors by Alexander Julian. I'm going to type that in here. Julian. That's my winner for tonight. You don't even need to know about the other 2. Don't even bother. Oh, the one, Dave, this is what I actually have is 1872 Mandarin. Not the 18. I'm assuming it's like a flanker or something. But it's 1872 Mandarin. Try Aesop Huile for a pine, incense, vetiver, cypress perfume. It's great. Smells like you're in a forest.
It sounds good. I've heard good things about that one.
I'll have to revisit L'Eau d'Ambre Extrême. It's been boxed in the closet for 2 years. Get that out of the closet and give it a whirl.
Really?
Colors Benetton. I like Colors Benetton. Whatever happened to Benetton? Does that even exist still? Are there still Benetton stores?
I
haven't seen one in so long.
I remember.
I don't even know what Benetton is. So that's
really. I used to purchase some stuff from Benetton back in the day. They had some good sweaters. I'm so enticed with by this Halston here. I'm gonna blow this up here. The beaker.
It's cute.
Yeah. I want to open it up and I want to try it. It's still a thing? Where? It must be just in Europe.
No, it looks like it has an online store. I Googled it because I've never heard of it before. Interesting.
All right, kind of open this up. Do you hear that sound? The sound of plastic being...
What, are you going to do your ASMR channel?
Get that friggin' ASMR shit away from me. Like, I hate the sound of chewing and lip smacking.
So as you open your beaker of goodness, one fragrance I do love during the holidays that's greener, since I talked mostly about like sweet gourmand-ish things, Guerlain vetiver for me is
Yeah.
the nutmeg, the tobacco kind of gives it a, I don't know. My grandfather never wore it, but it always instantly makes me think of my grandfather for whatever reason, and I find that comforting.
No, I love vetiver. Vetiver is
it's a reference vetiver. You know, it's kind of like talking about vetiver is almost
catalyst in the beaker. You know, beaker is in Muppet Show. Beaker, you know, beep, 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 and Bunsen Honeydew and all that sort of stuff. Beep, beep. It's really nice.
So Joe, which one were you talking about? The Absolute Code Absolute, right?
Yeah, the Armani Code Absolute from 2020 with the black top, not the all gold one.
Okay. If I was to go out of my way to smell any of the Armani Code line, would that be the one I should try?
That one is probably the best one for like everything, well-round performance, price. Because to me, the new parfum is overpriced, way overpriced.
How much is it?
It's like almost $160-$70 for the eau de parfum. I mean, for the parfum version or whatever they want to call it.
That's really
at least with this, you know, you can get it $70-$80 still, maybe even cheaper than that, and it's going to be the most balanced. It's not too top heavy. It's going to give you a solid performance. You'll feel satisfied with spending you know, the money that you did, because honestly I was very disappointed in that new Code Parfum. My skin.
160 is a lot for essentially like a top of the line designer. I mean, considering what you get for $160 these days, that's tough competition.
That's tough. And I mean, they're doing that. I know, you know, prices of everything is going up, but at the same time, like, you still gotta remember, like, okay guys, y'all are still a designer house, you know. There's much better things that luckily just aren't in the stores from many places. I mean, we've covered a bunch of them today that you could get for almost 200, you know, in that 170 to 200 range.
Well, if you got $160 to blow, you go to Fragrance Net, you know.
Exactly.
I could get quite a good checkout cart there. How is that treating you, Joseph?
Oh, it's great. I love it. It's orangey, it's spicy, it's herbal. There's all kinds of things going on, and it's cinnamony.
So have you ever worn the vintage, like, original wooden top Jaguar for men?
No, I actually haven't.
So that one, I don't know, for whatever reason, that Polo, Rudy bringing up Polo made me think of it. It's not really like Polo. People compare it to Polo. It's not. It's just like people reaching for like whatever fragrance of that time they're thinking of. It's kind of a gentlemanly green tobacco fragrance with kind of like a it's almost like a creamsicle feeling, which is interesting.
So it's kind of like orangey and a little bit lactonic, like a little creamy.
It's got, I think the creaminess is coming from florals. It's not like true lactonic, like it's not milky, but it's very smooth, creamy. A little bit vanilla is in there, a little bit like gentlemanly barbershop vanilla, because that's the era. And you're getting a lot of that tobacco and slightly coniferous, but not really like pine needles the way that you get from like Polo. Actually, really nice stuff. Really, really nice. Actually, the old wooden top Jaguar.
Very cool. Very cool. I know that there have been a lot of good things said about the original Jaguar, the Jaguar 2 as well. Bry is asking us, so what is going to be the Christmas scent for us? What is the scent that we would wear on Christmas Day?
Okay.
Smoky Jazz.
Okay.
For me. Primera. It's just that good. I mean, it's going to be the most aesthetic vibe, right? There'll be drinks, there'll be a little spice, some woods. It's just good. Probably if my cousin's coming, so there'll be a bar involved. So this is gonna be mine. Smoky Jazz from Premiere.
Okay.
Very nice.
Very nice. Smoky Jazz sounds interesting. So it'll be for Christmas Eve. I'll be wearing Xenia Passion, like I mentioned before. I love this. This is my favorite treatment of frankincense, which I just love so much. It's just so, it just fills me with joy to smell it. And then on Christmas Day, I'm not decided. It's either going to be it might be Guerlain Louis, which I already talked about, but it might be Vanille Havane by
okay.
Les Indomadables. So you know, we'll see. But it might be Guerlain Louis because I typically on Christmas Day I don't want something very heavy. So Guerlain Louis is a nice relaxed scent for the day that doesn't wear too heavy.
Mm-hmm. Sorry. I'm trying to type on this awful. You can probably hear a tippity tappity tickety tackety on my laptop. I'm trying to respond to somebody in the chat. For me, well, I spend Christmas with my partner, so I'm not going to be wearing very much because he has a low tolerance to fragrance. But if I could get away with wearing something, actually, this little vial, this little beaker would be the one. This little Halston catalyst. I think it'd be quite nice for a Christmas scent.
That would be. And you know what? Yeah. That just inspired me. You know what would be a very good Christmas scent? Halston
What's that?
Z14.
Z14 as well. Yeah. Oh, totally.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That would be a good one. I don't have like a full vintage bottle of Z14, but I have a bunch of like vintage mini splashes that I would be a good one to bring out.
So yeah. Maybe I can somehow get away with that before he says, "What is that smell?" Get in the shower now. But there's so many different things that I could wear on Christmas Day. And I shared a lot of them earlier. This is wonderful. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
I hear that song way too much at my job.
Oh, you do? Are they playing it in heavy rotation?
Heavy rotation, every variation. I'm so tired of it.
Oh, God.
I can't wait for this.
I like the Andy Williams version, but I'm sure there's like 138 different versions of it. I could do without hearing All I Want for Christmas Is You for about 10 years.
I'm forced to hear that.
Yeah, there's just so much. And rocking around the Christmas tree, have a happy holiday, and have a holly jolly Christmas. It's the best time of the year. I actually want to hear some of those like old hymnal Christmas carols, like, you know, angels that we heard I heard the bells on Christmas Day, the old familiar carols play. I like that stuff because it's not really played out that much.
But they stopped playing the religious songs for obvious considerations, but that cuts out like 70% of the good Christmas music.
Oh my God!
30% of the bad. Like well, not all of that 30% is bad, but like it's mostly junk, stupid Christmas songs about Santa Claus and you know, it's a marshmallow world. That song is the worst. Dean Martin just sounds drunk the whole time. He's talking about the sun being red like a pumpkin head. Obviously not the great lyricist of his time. I don't
And
know.
then like that supposed Hawaiian one, like Mele Meka Meka Leka Hi. Oh god. And it's not there's nothing Hawaiian about it. It was entirely made up. And Hawaiians are like, that is bullshit. That is not Hawaiian at
Wait,
all.
it was actually made. It was actually made up. It's not an
Right. It's not Hawaiian for Merry Christmas. Yep. Yep.
Oh,
It's true. It's true.
sad.
Floral notes. I'm going to be doing Christmas songs tomorrow on Instagram. I'm just going to go on. I'm just going to start singing Christmas songs. So you can count on it. I won't be doing it tomorrow night because I'm going to be out and about. I'm not going to be able to join the karaoke, but I'll be doing it on Instagram. I'll jump on during the workday because it's going to be really slow. I deck the halls with bowls of holly. Yeah. I'm not the religious type of those Christmas or oh yeah. Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. Yeah, I'm gonna do it during the day, probably in the afternoon, probably around 3:30, 4 o'clock. I'll start doing that, just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think All I Want for Christmas is very special, no matter how many times I hear it played for some reason. Different strokes for different folks.
Somebody's doing it. It gets. I mean, I've heard like Mariah's raking in millions just.
Oh yeah, just on that.
Somebody calculated what she's getting in terms of like kickbacks every holiday season. It's like $8 to $10 million just from people playing the song.
She makes way more money off
so much. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
One of my favorites is actually, it was released on one of those K-Tel type compilation vinyl records back in the 60s. And it was by Aretha Franklin, and I'm going to sing this one tomorrow, and it's called Kissing by the Mistletoe. I don't know if you guys heard of this one, but kissing by the mistletoe, tingle, tingle. Ooh, and away we go, jingle, tingle. Kissing by the mistletoe, love's here to stay, and now it's Christmas every day. Yeah, I'm going to sing that one tomorrow, definitely. That was on this album that my mother had called Joyous Christmas, and it had like Vicky Carr singing Joy to the World. It had like, trying to think of what else was on it. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer by, who was the one? Gene Autry? I think that was the version that was on it. We had a few different great Christmas albums, and that was playing so often during my earliest Christmases that it's imprinted in my mind. So I can just sing them, and right, like as they were sung. Like my first experience with Winter Wonderland was with Anne Murray. All right. That was the first one I heard. Do you guys know Anne Murray? She's like a Canadian artist. She was like big in the 70s. Of her, yeah. Big in the 70s. She sang like You Needed Me and Danny's Song and that kind of stuff. Yeah. And she did a version of Winter Wonderland. And that's the one that I always refer to when I think of Winter Wonderland. So let's look at the notes, the comments here before we start to sign off. Sing the entire Nine Inch Nails Broken EP.
Great idea.
We'll see what I can do with that. So the reason why occasionally I just sort of glide over to this direction is because in my office here, the floor is slanted. So if I don't hold on to my chair, I start to move in this direction. See?
So you're.
It's really slanted. It's a very old house.
Like a little carpet under your chair or something.
No, like I know. Pat Lester. Monsieur is a great scent for the holidays. Could you please specify, Mr. Lester, which Monsieur? Thanks, Dave. Jingle tingle. It's totally jingle tingle. I swear to God, that's the words. Jingle tingle. Christmas, Christmas time for cheers. I am in the spirit. I have the Holy Ghost in me right now. So, guys, before we sign off, we'll go backstage. What are your favorite Christmas carols?
True traditional O Holy Night, but if we're going to the, I don't know if the people sang this much as caroling, or at least I didn't, but White Christmas will always be my favorite Christmas song. I think that one is the
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know. Yeah, that's a really good one.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, JoJo?
So honestly, up until this year, I enjoyed Christmas carols. Now that I'm working retail for Bloomingdale's and Diptyque, and I hear it nonstop, and I'm here 5 days a week, I just want to run my head through a wall. But some of the ones that I still do enjoy is Boys to Men, Oh Holy Night, and then like the ones that y'all mentioned, pretty much all of them. And yeah, that's pretty much it, because those are the ones that haven't been played as much yet. Like, again, because of Bloomingdale's being a Macy's partner or whatever, sister company, brother, whatever, I have to hear Mariah Carey like 9,000 times a day. So
and do you also get a big dose of the Taylor Swift cover of Last Christmas?
Oh,
that's
God.
That's probably gonna come this week, honestly. Like today's my last day off, so that's why I was like, oh, good, JJ's on. I could finally catch him, because I'm gonna be dealing with Christmas all the way through up until Christmas and New Year's, so I'll be tied up. But they're probably gonna.
You were hoping to
Right.
escape it, and JJ's just hitting you hard with all the Christmas stuff.
You know what? The only version of Last Christmas that I'll listen to is Wham's. That's the one. There are like 9 million covers of that, and the only one that I want to listen to is Wham's.
Right.
I will say, Dave, you are 100% correct. Paul McCartney's Christmas song is
Oh my God, that's so good. Simply having a wonderful Christmas
I hear
time.
that.
Simply having one. Oh, worse? No, I like it. I like it. I like it.
It literally feels. I literally
like it.
Somebody went to Sir Paul McCartney. We need a Christmas single, and Paul McCartney was like, I don't want to do a Christmas song, but they're like, it's really good. It's really good. He sat down at the keyboard and in 5 minutes had written that song. That's what that song sounds like. It is terrible.
I cannot wait until Monday. That's all I can say. I cannot wait until
Monday. All right. I'm going to close things off because I think some people want me to actually sing a song. And I like singing. So if you guys don't mind sticking around for a few minutes before we go backstage, I'm going to go to my YouTube and I'm going to bring up something to help me along. I'm going to do karaoke of Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. Give me a moment here. I'm going to bring this up. All right, close that out. I'm going to look this up, and I'm going to sing. I'm going to sing for our audience of 30 people who were so loyal, so tried and true to stick around with us for over 2 hours while I close things out with a song. And give me a moment. I'm just bringing it up. All right. No, I don't want to do a piano version. No, I don't want to do a piano version. Okay, here we go. Here's a Michael Bublé version. That's an advertisement right now. I like the Paul McCartney version. I mean, I like the Paul McCartney. I don't know why. I just do. All right. I'm going to sing a song, and then we're going to sign off for the evening. Wait, Cardi B had a version of Last Christmas? Where was I? Have yourself a merry little Christmas. May your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. From now on, our troubles will be miles away. Here we are, as in golden days, happy in days of yore. Faithful friends who are reaching out, gather near to us. Smile. Through the years, we'll all be together. If the fates allow. And a shining star upon the highest bough. You have yourself a merry little Christmas now. I like how the viewers are going down one by one. That's a way to get rid of them. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us now. Through the years, we'll all be together. If the fates allow. A shining star upon the highest bough, and have yourself a merry little Christmas now. All right, everyone. Have a great evening, morning, afternoon, depending upon where you are on the globe. Thank you so much. That's right. Period. We will see you again next Tuesday. Ryan will be taking the break, but Adam Forgiati will be our panelist, and our guest will be none other than Mr. Smelly Down Naughton and DDLD, Dry Down Low Down. He will be joining us as well. Tune in next week for that, and until next time, be well, have a great holiday, and be safe. Bye now. All right, guys, stick around for the backstage.